Okay, we're doing a book tag, so we're recording a few today, and I don't know which order we're going to end up posting them.
They don't care we're recording today.
But we haven't been around much, and so we're trying to catch up.
Get to the point. No one needs the intro.
They don't know that we've already done some book tags, and we've been doing this for a while.
They don't care either.
Yes, but we haven't been around, and if this goes first, they need an explanation.
I'm sure they're like, wait, have they been around? I'm not sure. Oh, they said they haven't been.
Okay.
Crisis averted.
All right, anyway. Sir Chonk's birthday was at the end of October.
What did you get me, YouTube? Oh, yeah. A big bag of nothing. Thanks, jerks.
All right. I thought you were asking me what I got you. I'm like, you don't remember?
Oh, you got me in the Pyramid of Darkness.
Yeah, Pyramid of Darkness, G.I. Joe thing.
Lunchbox.
A G.I. Joe lunchbox. Apparently there's a G.I. Joe theme.
Trains and automobiles. You got me that book I'm trying to read that is not very good.
Yeah, well, it looked okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you can talk about it in a book recap.
I don't remember what it's called. Miller
Guests.
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
How are you still reading that? It's like 8 pages long.
Because it's awful. When I read 2 pages and I go, I can't read anymore.
Are you reading Look Closer yet, by the way?
No, we'll look further away on that one.
I'm getting a copy. I bought it should be here, actually. I think it's in the pile of stuff that came with Christmas gifts. But I got a copy of Spear Cuts Through Water because there's going to be a buddy read at the end of the year or beginning of next year.
We're recording this?
So you could, yeah.
This is not in order.
Anyway, this is some book-related stuff. Anyway, so Sir Chonk's birthday was the end of October, and mine is coming up in a couple of weeks at the end of November. And so we thought we would do the birthday book tag, and we would do it together because our birthdays are so close together. So we figured we would do them, and we'd have our own answers. All right, so I know these have to do with...
books?
Yes, they have to do with books, but there's like little...
Birthdays.
Why?
Z.
Why are you like this?
I don't know.
I don't know. All right.
No one's been able to figure it out.
All right, well, let's see. Let's look at these first. The first one. I'm going to go first. I always do. Sir Chonk never has any idea what's happening. And then I just say some things.
Mystery.
Okay, so number 1 is a book, and this is Birthday Cake. Number 1, a book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. Well, it's kind of hard because I want to say like, and then there were none, but that's only cliche because and then there were none is like the foundation of that cliche, right? So I'm going to go with, I guess, Daisy Darker because it's essentially another version of And Then There Were None. But it was one of the best books ever. I love it. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely got, like, it's pretty much like, hey, you know that book you love? Here's another one like it. What about you?
I'm going to go with a book series that's, people might not consider it cliche, but it's very much by the numbers when it comes to the hero's journey. So in that way, it's extremely cliche. So I'm going with Harold Potter and the Misplaced Rectum. Harry Potter and just the whole thing.
I would have said Harry Potter too.
Because, like, you know, it's really enjoyable. I like it. There are certainly creative parts to it. I'm not saying it's not. But it very much follows the reluctant hero when he crosses the threshold and he meets his team of friends and he has a mentor and spoiler, the mentor gets hit by a bus and then he has to defeat the ultimate villain and then he bangs the heroine. The end.
He doesn't bang the heroine. He bangs his friend's sister.
Dag. That's messed up. Oh, she's a redhead, though, so, like, I get it.
His friend bangs the heroine.
Oh, yeah. His friend's addicted to heroin.
Anyway, we have gone on quite the downward spiral here. All right, number 2 is Party Guest, your most anticipated book release for this year. So it's getting late in the year, so there's not too much coming out anymore. One of the most anticipated books of this year that I haven't read is The Fourth in the Thursday Murder Club, but I asked for that for Christmas, so it's probably going to be in my Christmas gifts. And then I also have the third one that I haven't read yet. So, and then I think for next year, right now, it's probably Middle of the Night, which is the new Riley Sager, and that comes out on June 18th. And Sir Chonk is super excited for that book release as well, even though he's never read a Riley Sager book. And that's because it comes out when he's supposed to get the day he gets out of school.
Oh, yeah, that's exciting.
So he's been like, I can't wait for Riley Sager's new book.
Right.
So, and not that you actually care about, you haven't even read, have you read anything of Riley Sager's?
I don't think so.
No, so he has a big pile that I've given him that he has yet to read any of. Yeah. All right, what's your most anticipated book release for the year?
Well, having an anticipated book release would assume that I have any idea of what books are coming out, which I do not at all. I pay no attention. You want to know why? Because there are kabillions of books in existence that I can read. So there's no need for me to get all hyped up about some new one that's going to cost me $30 when I get an equivalently good one for 50 cents.
Well, let's also be honest. Sir Chonk reads so much, like, classic literature and old books that he's like, I guess I'm excited about that book that Bradbury wrote that I haven't read from 1952.
Yeah, or like, what's the Rocket Screams Across? The Thomas Pynchon book. What is that one? No, Thomas Pynchon.
Gravity's Rainbow.
Gravity's Rainbow. I want to read Gravity's Rainbow. That didn't come out this year. That came out in like...
What about Holly?
78
that was
or
a
something.
Stephen King book that
But I hate Holly.
But you asked for it for Christmas.
Yeah, I'll read it because I have this weird completionist disease that I have to read all of them, but I don't think it's going to be very good.
No one can hear you if you're talking to Toothless' head.
Yes, they can.
All right. Number 3, a book that surprised you by how much you love it, and that is Birthday Presents. I'm going to say, just because I was just talking about it, Look Closer by David Ellis. That's one. I don't know how that book is not, like, the most popular book of all time. And then I just read a book, and I can't remember the name right now. Winter something, Winterborn, I don't know. It was a middle grade book, and I just really enjoyed that. And then, what else is, like, underrated? I don't know. I mean, I love Spear Cuts Through Water. We were just talking about that. I'm going to read, that's on, like, my top of all time. So, Look Closer and Spear Cuts Through Water, I think, surprised me. And they definitely aren't, like, I didn't hear much about either of those books. And that's what's, like, so frustrating is, you're like, this book is so good. How is, like, everybody not talking about it? What about you?
Right. So mine's a little different because this book was pretty popular and like really very much talked about as being amazing, but it's the kind of book I usually hate. So I was like, I'll read it, but I'll probably hate it, and then it'll be one of those things where everybody's like, isn't this book great? I'm like, no, actually it sucks, and so do you. But in fact, I liked it a tremendous amount, and it is The Lovely Bones.
Oh yeah,
which is an amazing book. It's pretty much, I'm not uncovering a hidden gem here. A lot of people know this book, and it's amazing, but it's a kind of book that I don't give a crap about normally. You know, it's like relationships and feelings and murder by icicles. That part I like. But, you know, so yeah, I was surprised I liked it because I hate those books normally.
Well, you don't hate literary fiction.
No, I hate the subject.
Right, like family and stuff, yeah. All right, so number 4 is The Birthday Song, a book that deserves all the hype. That's like so hard because like I'm gonna go like not really out on a limb because I mean
it has a bunch of hype. You can't go out on a limb.
No, I don't know that like I know it gets a lot of hype, but I don't even know that it gets as much hype as it really should, and that's the Song of Ice and Fire series. And the reason is it is hyped up, but I know a lot of people who've watched the show who still haven't read the books. Or they're like, should I bother with the books? And like, and that actually could go with something that surprised me with how much I loved it.
Yeah, they're very, very different, but also they're never going to end. So you're going to decide.
Right, that's true. But they're just so good. And I'm not like a super huge fantasy fan. And I keep trying to read fantasy and I can't get into it because I don't feel like they're really fantasy. They're like more like just historical fiction with some fantasy elements. But they're absolutely fantastic. And the world building and the character development is just so incredibly impressive. And it definitely deserves to be like as popular as it is.
All right, I'm going to go with one that I think most people accept as kind of a literary classic. It's taught a lot. It's amazing. It's by arguably my favorite writer. It's not my favorite book by this writer, but it's one heck of a good book. Fahrenheit 451, amazing book, great story, and I would say the best opening page, writing-wise, of any book ever written. If you read that opening page, and you don't just start slapping your neighbors and telling them how good it is, and something is wrong with you, and probably your neighbors. Maybe they're too close to you when you're reading. Anyway, go ahead. All
right, so book published the year you were born. And I don't know if it's supposed to be a book you like that came out the year you were born, just a book. And we just did the Stephen King book tag, even though that's probably going to get posted after this one.
You don't know if that's true.
So I figured out The Shining came out the year I was born, but also apparently The Thornbirds did. And I love The Thornbirds, and it's just ridiculous because it's not the kind of book I would like. And part of it's because I watched the miniseries with my mom when I was really young. I mean, probably too young to be watching it, to be honest. And then I read the book, and I was like, also like probably too young to be reading the book.
More like the porn birds, am I right?
I mean, it's still pretty tame because it was written in the 70s.
Birds.
Fine. So yeah, I'm gonna say obviously Shining, and then The Thornbirds, and then do you know books that were published the year you were?
I can only know the one for sure. There could be other books that came. I'm sure there were many other books that came out.
Here's some books that were published the year you came out. Can you see?
No, I can't really see so well. I'm not a strong reader. Well, I haven't read Jaws. Obviously, Carrie is certainly one that I read that I really liked. That would certainly be up there as one of my favorites. Scrolling through this list, not seeing things that I've read.
Well, you watched Jaws.
I saw the movie Alive. So I saw 2 movies from the books that were born.
All right, well, I guess...
All right, so I guess it's going to be Carrie.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Blubber. That was a good book by
Was it?
Judy Blume. I liked that book. Judy Blume writes good books. What are you talking about? All right.
Sure, it's popular books.
A book you would appreciate more as an older reader that you think...
Oh, I got this. You take mine, I'll punch in the boob.
Getting older. So a book you read a long time ago, but you think you'd appreciate more now.
Do not take mine.
Well, I'm going to say...
Do not take mine, I'll hurt you. I'll whap you in the boob.
I don't know what you're going to say, so I can't say if I'm going...
You can figure it out.
I'm going to go with anything by Hemingway, just because I read a lot of them when I was younger, and I hated Hemingway until I was, like, in my early 30s, mid-30s, because I just thought he was, like, pretentious and annoying and whiny, and then, like, I hit a certain point in my life, which is my mid-30s, and I was, like, and I thought, like, nostalgia kicked in a way that, like, I actually understood it, and then I was like, oh, I get what he's talking about, and now I love his books. And so I would probably also go with maybe the one you were thinking of, which is The Great Gatsby.
Nope, not Gatsby.
Okay, so Gatsby as well.
Gatsby would be under consideration. And I hate to go back to the same author twice on these lists. And if I had prepped for these questions, I would have used a different one for my earlier answer.
Oh, I
but
know
there's no way I can't pick this one for this. It's like nostalgia on paper. Dandelion Wine by Bradbury. It's ridiculous. Like, if you read this book when you're like 15, 18, 22, you might like it. But you are not going to be able to appreciate just the intense nostalgia punch to the face that the book is until you get much older. You can appreciate how, like, dang, I can't run anymore. Poop. Right.
Well, see, I agree with that, but I didn't read that until I was, like, in my late 20s, I don't think. So, I already, so I can't really speak to that. But I did read, like, Old Man and the Sea when I was, like, 11. And I was like, this book is stupid. It's about a fish. And then I reread it this year. I was like, this book is actually really impactful and meaningful.
And it's about a fish.
It is about a fish. But, like, it's not. It's about, like, obviously nostalgia and realizing, like, you have this one goal. And you're like, what's the point of being alive? I might as well just keep trying. And, like, it has a whole other meaning. Same thing with, like, Gatsby. I read that in, like, obviously in high school. And I think it means more as you get older. So I agree with you on Dandelion Wine. I just didn't read it when I was young. So
what I like about The Old Man and the Sea is that he gets completely screwed over and his life sucks, but it's what he deserves because he's a Yankees fan. Yes.
You should reread it because it's actually way better than you would probably think.
He's a Yankee fan. He gets what
When's the last time you read that? Like 12?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you should probably reread it because it's a whole different book when you're like an adult.
Talking about DiMaggio way too much.
And it's also only like 80 pages long. All right, so the next one is Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. All right, I'm going to go with like the old standby for me, which is Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye has helped me through pretty much every like down period in my life. I consistently go back to it. Whenever I'm really, really down, I can go back to it. Holden's always there. It's ironically the book that is the, like, that glass case of, like, your feeling, not the glass case of emotion from Ingerman. But, like, you know, if you've read it, Holden talks about how certain things should just be preserved, like, in the museum, like, how they are, like, so you can always go back to them and feel the same way, even though you're different, and you can, like, remember them. And, like, in a way, it's weird, because Catcher in the Rye is that for me. Like, I can always go back to it, and even if I'm having different, like, experiences, or I'm in a different point in my life, it not only helps me feel better, but it also reminds me of, like, getting through things that I've gone through in my life. And so, yeah, I love that book.
I don't know if any book really does that kind of thing for me, so I just stuff all my oceans down inward and ignore them. But I would say I really get joy from some books I've read recently, and I would say those are the Bunnicula books. They are adorable and fun and silly and have a bunny, although the bunny is not in it nearly enough. We need more bunny. But that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Okay, what fictional character would you invite to your birthday party? I'm going to pick 4 people, just because. I just want to pick a number. I feel like it'd be fun to have a birthday party with 4 guests. So I'm going to say Holden Caulfield, because clearly I love him. I don't know who else. I didn't really plan this.
Wow, great. Yeah. One's not enough for me. I need 4. I have 1. Maybe stick with 1 there, boss. Don't buy so much food for your 1-person party.
Fine. I'm going to say hang out with Holden Caulfield. Whatever. 1 person.
Okay.
Party of 2.
Dufresne, party of 2. Anyway, mine's not a person specifically, but I think they'd be easy to feed. I'm going to go with Bigwig from Watership Down, one of my all-time favorite characters. He stands his ground. He's got a crazy mop on his head. He's very entertaining. He's a leader. He's hilarious. He's fluffy. He loves grass.
What if you invited Bunnicula and Bigwig?
I didn't realize what a bunny-centric list I started coming up with here.
Why don't you have a Velveteen Rabbit on the list, too?
Soon enough.
All right. All right, so the next one is a book that takes place in the season of your birth. So my birthday is the end of November, which is still technically fall, but it's like really it's winter. So I'm going to go with Ethan Frome, because Ethan Frome is basically like, if you took the existence of winter and condensed it into a book form, it would be Ethan Frome.
Okay, look. I can't be held responsible for the lack of variety in this list. If you're going to keep asking questions that are deliberately targeted and perfect for the same author over and over again,
it's all the Ray
I am not going to be held responsible. Like, I am born in October. Ray Bradbury has so many books that take place in October. He's going to call the October Country, for God's sake. I'm going to go. I believe Something Wicked This Way Comes takes place in October. It's amazing, great book, creepy vibe. But like anything, not anything, but like half of Bradbury's books take place in October, just about. The only one's in summer, and like he catches that Halloween vibe to perfection. I didn't mean to make this the Rabbit and Bradbury list, but that's what we got here.
Well, that's what we'll call it: rabbits or bunnies and Bradbury.
Right.
Ray
Bunbury.
Right. Bunbury, that's our cat.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, okay, next one is a fictional world you would like to have been born into. Part of me wants to say Harry Potter, just because who doesn't want to live in the world of Harry Potter? But I'm going to say, even though it probably would suck, I'd like to have been born in Westeros. Because, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm a sucker for, like, medieval stuff. To be honest, anyway. So if it's not medieval, it's Victorian. So I'm gonna basically die of some horrible disease, regardless of which of those 2 periods I get born into. So I would say, as much as I love Victorian stuff, I think I actually do really like want to live in the medieval era. And if it wasn't that, I would want to be born into like Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare, because that's Victorian.
Yeah, I can't think of any world that's particularly great. So I'm also going to steal a time period and do kind of what you just did. I'm going to go with Jekyll and Hyde, which is, again, Victorian era. But, like, I just love, like, I'm going to walk on some cobblestones with a cane, and then I'm going to take dinner. I'm not going to have dinner. I'm not going to eat dinner. I'm going to take dinner at the local inn. I don't know why. I love when characters take their dinner places. But they don't mean take it. They mean eat it. But they say take. I don't know why that gets me excited.
Maybe you just need to be born in Britain.
No, most British books don't talk like that.
How many British books do you read that aren't British Victorian?
A lot.
Really? Where are they? Name some.
Brave New World.
Brave New World is not set in reality.
So it's a British book.
I guess the bunnies don't take
Watership
dinner.
Down. They don't take dinner. They eat grass.
Well, that's because they're bunnies. So bunnies don't take dinner.
Primroses. They eat cowslips.
Okay. Anyway, you want to be born as a bunny?
Sylphe Haraka.
Are you swearing at me and bunny?
Yes.
All right. A book that represents you when you were younger. So what age is going to be like kind of obviously dependent? I think if it was a very young age, it would be probably Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, Gables.
You know, he'd love this book if he like...
They're so green and verdant.
Just because, like, I was a lot like Anne of Green Gables. Like, I was, like, a little bit of a tomboy, but also a nerd. And I loved books.
Holding a basket.
That's not what happens at all.
Traipse, basket.
Anne of Green Gables is a super opinionated, like, reader and, like, feminist.
I'm a feminist who loves Green Gables and baskets.
Okay, well, anyway, so Anne of Green Gables, or let's say Catcher in the Rye for being
whatever her boyfriend's name is, Elderberry,
for being a teenager. His name's Logan.
Ooh.
No, Gilbert.
I was gonna say Logan.
Logan. That was you got me. You were talking about berries. Anyway, Gilbert.
It was a horrible name.
Yeah, well, what do you want? It was like Victorian, like Prince Edward Island. That's what they got for names. Anyway, a book that represents you when you were younger.
Yes.
Now, Velveteen Rabbit.
I could go Velveteen Rabbit just for like the sake of continuity, but I think I'm actually.
Except you didn't have yellow fever.
Maybe I did. Maybe I had scarlet fever or other varieties of color with the fevers. I'm gonna go with Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and the reason is, I read this when I was really, really little.
Yeah, those are good.
And I read it in a wardrobe. I stuck myself in between big.
You don't have a wardrobe. You had a closet.
It's a big-ass walk-in closet.
That's not a wardrobe. Wardrobes are British.
Well, I was reading
a piece of furniture.
I was reading a British book in which they didn't say take their dinner, by the way.
So, are you sure?
Yes. They eat Turkish Delight nonstop. Well, at least that...
They never had dinner. We don't know if they take dinner.
Yeah, anyway. So that I like. Because I love the idea of, like, going through the wardrobe part while I was, like, reading that part surrounded by jackets. Like, this is too convenient. There were no lions in my, quote, wardrobe.
Oh, you had a hippo.
And a witch.
All right. There was a witch.
Yeah.
A witch in a wardrobe. Who was the witch? Like your aunt or something?
Let's not talk about that.
All right. A book that represents who you are now.
Yes.
I'm going to go with I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is probably depressing, but it's also pretty accurate. I think it does a really good job of, like, showing sort of the... It's like it's a weird, like, nostalgia and depression and loneliness and like hopelessness, but also like that still yearning to kind of belong, that I think really I don't think I've ever seen anyone capture, and it's very unique to, I feel like, a certain age, and like you hit a certain point in your life and then it probably I don't know, I've had it for a little while and I feel like it's going to continue for the rest of my life, and so I love that book because I think it captures something that I've never seen captured before, and I would say it represents a lot of my emotions that are in a glass case.
Interesting. There might be better options than what I'm going to be
Don't say American Psycho.
Wait, that obvious? Well, I was going to go with American Psycho because I only experienced two emotions, and those are rage and disgust. And those are the two emotions.
You don't murder people and, like,
I'm not saying
animals into people's body cavities.
People. I'm just saying most of my emotions are very negative and dark.
You should read that closer. You're going to like it. I
read like 32 pages, and I was like, I've seen enough. I've seen this close enough.
No, you haven't.
No need to look anymore.
All right, anyway. Is that really what you were going to say?
Yeah.
A book that represents something that has never changed about you. I mean, I'm going to go back to Catcher in the Rye because, like, literally, since I read that book, it's always been the book that understood me the most and reflected my feelings. And even as I got older, like, that didn't change. And so it's now not my number 2 book because of I'm Thinking of Ending Things, but it still represents a part of me. So I'm going to say that.
Book that represents me? You said
that's
what?
Something that's never changed about you.
I Am the Cheese?
Because you're cheese?
Because I'm...
Have you ever read I Am the Cheese?
No.
Okay.
But that's no need to not put it on the list of books.
Okay. He really wants to do our cheese tag. And then a book with beautiful or memorable quotes. I mean, The Great Gatsby. Literally, like, every other page is full of the most beautiful language in the history of man. And you're like, how is this guy this good at writing sentences? And it hurts. It hurts how beautifully written it is. And if you don't like it, I think you need to, like, shut up and go read it again. Because, like, it's so beautiful. How do you not like it? It doesn't even matter what the plot is. Literally, the way he phrases things is so unbelievably, painfully beautiful that, like, I can't get over it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Bradbury again?
No, I would, but I feel like I've definitely done way too much Bradbury on this list. Although, clearly this list was designed for fans of Bradbury. I mean, these are like hand-picked answers for him. Give me a break. So you could pick any of his books. I'm having trouble thinking. I know there's plenty of books that are really well written. I just can't think of one. Oh, you know what I'm going to go with? This is probably not, like, my favorite, certainly. But All the Light We Cannot See definitely has some moments in it that are very well delivered in a beautiful fashion. So I know there's probably at least 20 books that I like more than that one, written-wise. But I can't think of them right now, and that one's good, so I'm going with that. So what have we learned, boys and girls? Do your homework.
Happy birthday!
Always count your change. Boop.
Bye.